Hi everybody, this is Asiel Baez from Day, making this video for you guys today. This video is a personal blog, a personal spiritual blog more so than anything else. um, the other day I was having a conversation with someone, and this person made a comment that literally changed my mind and helped change my mind and helped change my worldview on certain things, and it inspired me to even do this video and make this talk. This is a spiritual teaching that I found that I thought was so deeply, that it deeply impacted me so much that I just had to share it. And this is the events that have happened after that. So I was speaking with this person, and I was asking a question about enlightenment and what they thought enlightenment was and what they thought that behavior was, etc., on a spiritual level and a physical level. And they said more so along the lines that there's a point that you gotta catch yourself as to how your ego at the same time gets you very much wrapped up on the fact that you are behind enlightenment. Your ego itself gets you very wrapped up on the fact that you need to do all these exercises, and you need to learn all these prayers, and you need to light all these candles, and you need to do all these things. And your ego really, really gets to you on the fact that there's work to do to be enlightened, that is a future goal, that it is something that you must achieve, that is something that you must get to, that is something that is for only a few people, and you must strive, and you must strive, and you must strive, and you must strive. And I myself am a definitely an Orisha priest who is in search of personal iwapele, or personal enlightenment, or to whatever extent personal might mean, and to whatever extent anything might mean precisely. But I caught myself there, and I realized that I was like, oh my goodness, the way that the person said it and the words that the person used at that precise moment were so deeply impacting to me that I realized how I myself at certain points am constantly worrying about, like, oh, how spiritual am I? Oh, how spiritual am I? Oh, how spiritual am I? Or how spiritual do I seem? Or how spiritual do I act? Or how, am I being spiritual enough? Is this spiritual? Goodness, this is my lifestyle, This is a lifestyle that you each are choosing, that is a religious and a spiritual and a regular lifestyle. Like, everybody eats their sandwich, you just simply do your prayers. Everybody does their own prayers, everybody eats their own food, everybody does their own style. A religion is just simply a style, a lifestyle of living, a way of living, a way of expressing yourself somehow to the world, to the physical world of others, or to yourself through the eyes of others, I should say. Either way, after I had this conversation, I really had this rush of energy through my whole body, had this tingle sensation all over my body, and I had this intense overthinking. I had this intense realization of enlightenment, I guess, a perfect, this is where I'm at this very moment, this is where I'm at this very moment, this is where I'm at this very moment. And the very next day, I had someone else, this was a godchild of mine. The next day, a godchild of mine who called me, and when we spoke, we were texting. We weren't speaking first. We were texting, and they themselves told me that they were doing this, and that, and the other, and later at night, they were catching up on their studies on such and such subject because they were so behind, and this and that. And I was like, and I told them exactly what my conversation the night before had been, and what I had gathered from the conversation the night before. And this person called me and we had a conversation about this topic because we're all worried about how far behind we are on Iwapele and how far beyond we are on enlightenment and how far beyond or behind. I keep saying beyond. I keep saying beyond. How far behind we are on certain things, and we have to understand that where we are is exactly where we choose to be, and where we are is exactly where we need to be in order to continue what we want to be. That's what people sometimes don't understand. If you like a certain subject, you have to just simply commit your time and your energy to that subject. Learn about the subject as much as possible. Study the subject, memorize the subject, etc., etc. When you are acting, when you're saying that you want to do something, and you begin to do that something, and you begin to be aware of what you're doing, and you let go of the rest, because that's the hardest thing, is us letting go of the rest, letting go of the past. We're constantly thinking about the past and we're constantly thinking about the future, what we did and what we're doing, what we're going to get from what we're doing. And we need to realize that what we're doing at this very moment, like at this very moment, I'm just sitting here and I'm looking at my camera and I'm speaking to my camera. At this very moment, this is all that matters for me. There's no such other thing as what I may gain from this, and there's no other thing as to where I've been or what I've, I need to be focused on this camera at this very moment. And this is the awareness of this enlightenment or of this thing. The ego is constantly trying to get us into different directions and to get us into different things and to get us into act and fit with different people. And I've realized that I personally don't care to fit with different people because I care to fit only with myself, and it's in this day and age, when it comes to Orisha and when it comes to all these things, in this day and age there is a lot of mixture of different things. All of these things are part of where I am at this moment in life. Okay, there's a lot of people who want to argue religious points in this religion, in the Orisha Lukumi religion, which is the most popular practice amongst many people in the Western Hemisphere. So people want to argue certain things that there's no point arguing, because we all view things differently and we are all in different points of life, etc., etc. And some people want to compare to how things were done. We cannot compare to how things were done back in the times of so and so, because back in the times of so and so, they lived a very different lifestyle than what we are doing today. They did not have an iPhone with Facebook and videos of an Orisha speaking into them. They did not have these forms of communication. They did not have these forms of information and this form of sharing information that there is nowadays. We are Olochas of a new age, and this is something that we all need to understand. The religion is now. This religion is not back in the whatever, or where the religion is heading into. There's so much argument about where the religion was and where the religion will be, and a lot of people are not focusing on where the religion is at this moment. And that is what I realized. Part of what I realized, and in these last few days that I've had my little epiphanies and all that stuff, is that where one is religiously is just simply where you are religiously. Do not compare yourself to other people, and do not compare yourself to priests and priestesses that Olochas and Olorishas, or Babalochas and Iyalorishas that have passed away, that lived 100 years ago. Their expression of Orisha was very different than the expression of Orishas that we have right now. there's a lot of new people who are coming into this religion, who are coming into this lifestyle, the freedom that Orisha gives and the guidance that Orisha gives, who come from very different backgrounds that is not precisely just Cubans. There's a lot of people who are coming into the religion who speak English. This very video is in English. That in itself is an expansion of the religion that I keep speaking about to people. Like, the religion is expanding and the religion is changing, the religion is transforming, because there's new, we are not back then, and we're not in the future somewhere. We are here, we are now. And most of the people that are here and that are now, that practice the Orisha faith Lukumi religion, are not the same people that were here 80 years ago. Hence and forth. These last few days I have noticed that my personal actions towards religion and towards certain other things, towards other personal mental things, have definitely changed. And if you catch yourself and I'm trying to catch myself constantly now. I become aware of catching myself, of staying in the present moment, because I constantly will go into my very own personal image of the past or my very own daydream of the future. And I'm trying to catch myself in the present moment as a priest of Ocha and as a person who has a personal commitment, which the personal commitment in itself is part of my ego, but I feel like my ego feels like it is part of my Iwapele, or part of my personal enlightenment, my personal Orisha enlightenment. I feel like there should be a very outward, spiritual, magnificent expression of Orisha that the religion is, in my eyes, is clearly lacking. And the way to express this, I realized that my calling has always been, and obviously is, to express it to such an extreme that is all there is. Magnificent temple, magnificent, like, creation of Orisha, etc., etc. The point of this video being, when you do religious work, be happy where you are religiously. Be happy where you find yourself in life, no matter what. Be aware of what you're doing and what you're holding in your hands and where you are at and what you're looking at, etc., etc., and realize that the past no longer exists and that the future is not really there. That all we have is definitely the present moment. And I'm realizing as I hold certain things, I'm touching and I'm feeling and I'm like looking, and I'm just like so aware since the other day that I feel like this personal high within me that that I feel at the same time it's very egotistical, because I feel like I'm enjoying this. So I feel like I'm looking at this expansion from look at this person and then looking at myself, looking at this person. Anyways, be aware of the present situation, be aware of the present issues, be aware of your present studies, be aware of your present whatever. Religiously speaking, be aware of your present place and be aware of where you want to head yourself into. Realize that where you want to head yourself into may take a little bit, but a little bit will always be the present. If you're someone who decides not to take some steps, then that is on you. But if you're someone in life, not just religiously, but in life, but if you're someone who takes the steps, you will get somewhere. The point is doing things, being aware of the present moment of what you decided to do. Anyways, this was just a personal, spiritual blog, mixture of different things and different thoughts and whatever is specifically forming around that one thought of being from that conversation that was deeply life-changing to me, because I had never again thought about how often I have told myself, like, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, because in order to get there, I need to do all these other things, and there's this peace and this calm that came over me when I became aware of something that I was clearly unaware, that has brought me to a present moment that is very different than where I was a few days ago. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this spiritual blogging. And I will see you guys in one of my other videos. If you guys have any questions, send me an email at pseudonidascience@gmail.com. Come visit me at the Astral Winds in Avonlea, Antiques Mall, 8101 Phillips Highway in Jacksonville, Florida. And we'll be in touch at some point. So thank you guys so much for watching me, and I will see you guys in another one of my videos. This is Cecil Baez Onyede, and I wish you all a very awakening moment, and I wish you all to go and salute your Orishas, and we will all be in touch very soon in another video. Thank you guys for watching. Ache, 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 to. Ache everybody, this is Cecil Baez Onyede, making this video for you guys today. This video is a personal blog, a personal spiritual blog more so than anything else. The other day I was having a conversation with someone, and this person made a comment that literally like changed my mind and helped change my mind and helped change my worldview on certain things, and it inspired me to even do this video and make this talk. This is a spiritual teaching that I found that I thought was so deeply, that it deeply impacted me so much that I just had to share it. And this is the events that have happened after that. So I was speaking with this person, and I was asking a question about enlightenment and what they thought enlightenment was and what they thought that behavior was, etc., on a spiritual level and a physical level. And they said used at that precise moment were so deeply impacting to me that I realized how I myself at certain points am constantly worrying about, like, oh, how spiritual am I? Oh, how spiritual am I? Oh, how spiritual am I? Or how spiritual do I seem? Or how spiritual do I act? Or how, am I being spiritual enough? Is this spiritual? Like, goodness, like, this is my lifestyle, This is a lifestyle that you each are choosing, that is a religious and a spiritual and a regular lifestyle. Achieve, that is something that you must get to, that is something that is for only a few people, and you must strive, and you must strive, and you must strive, and you must strive. And I myself am a definitely an Orisha priest who is in search of personal iwapele, or personal enlightenment, or to whatever extent personal might mean, and to whatever extent anything might mean precisely. But I caught myself there, and I realized that I was like, oh my goodness, the way that the person said it and the words of the person, more so along the lines that there's a point that you gotta catch yourself as to how your ego at the same time gets you very much wrapped up on the fact that you are behind enlightenment. Your ego itself gets you very wrapped up on the fact that you need to do all these exercises, and you need to learn all these prayers, and you need to light all these candles, and you need to do all these things. And your ego really, really gets to you on the fact that there's work to do to be enlightened, that is a future goal, that it is something that you must